simultânea, tá? Os rádios estão aqui fora, vocês podem pegar, né? Facilita a compreensão. São duas palestrantes, uma vai falar em português e a outra em inglês, tá? Nós queremos o aproveitamento máximo de entendimento por se tratar de um evento muito importante para a UFPA, tá? Que é esse conhecimento, essa interação com a CAPES, no contexto dos acordos transformativos, que é uma parceria que a CAPES faz com as editoras internacionais mais importantes, com o pagamento das taxas de publicação, das APCs, que nós antigamente fazíamos pela UFPA, mas que, por questões de contenção orçamentária, estamos mais limitados agora. Mas a CAPES, felizmente, está nos dando essa oportunidade. Então, eu recomendaria que vocês, aqueles que não têm fluência, 100% de fluência no inglês, que aproveitem a oportunidade de usar os tradutores, as maquininhas, onde nós temos 2 tradutores ali atrás, né? E é isso. Obrigada por terem vindo. Depois eu vou fazer uma falinha de abertura também.
Soraya, would you like to here? And maybe you can try. Oh, it's working. Okay. This is my router.
Deixa eu pegar. Que legal. Que tal? Vai funcionar? Tem ali fora. Para ela? Tem um aí? Eu tenho uns copos descartados. Ah, não, eu tenho um copo da UFPA aí. Por favor, traz o copo da UFPA, tá?
Só para estar.
Na cadeira. Dá para ele um pouco.
E aqui eu acho que o microfone é fixo, né? O microfone daqui não é sem fio. Esse tem que. Pode falar aqui. Deixa eu ver se tem outro microfone lá. Só esse. E aí? Belezinha?
Quem fala é ela, que estava lá. Só ela.
Bem, agora é para valer. Já estamos no YouTube. Yuri, obrigada. Bom dia novamente. Sou a professora Iracilda Sampaio, pró-reitora de pesquisa e pós-graduação desta universidade. Nós estamos hoje celebrando, eu sou uma pessoa muito otimista, então eu sempre celebro todas as oportunidades que nós temos de fazer dessa universidade uma instituição maior e melhor, com mais visibilidade internacional. E esse evento de hoje, ele é um evento internacional, é um evento de internacionalização em que nós fomos convidados pela CAPES para sediar essa reunião com uma das editoras mais importantes do mundo na área das ciências exatas, engenharias, ciência da computação e toda a interface com as outras disciplinas das exatas, química, enfim, matemática. E a CAPES é sempre muito generosa com todos nós, nos deu essa oportunidade de realizar aqui hoje, no auditório do Projeto Newton, esse evento com pessoas que eu vou mencionar depois, que representam a CAPES e a editora que está aqui conosco hoje. Eu já comentei com eles que é apenas o início de uma grande parceria. Nós já queremos trazer a I3E de novo para Belém, aqui na UFPA, para dar continuidade a isso que nós veremos hoje. O que nós veremos hoje? Nós vamos aprender como funciona o processo de submissão de artigos científicos para revistas da editora I3E. E eu gostaria, antes de iniciar, fazer alguns agradecimentos, inicialmente ao ITEC, que é o Instituto de Tecnologia da UFPA, aqui na pessoa do nosso diretor, professor Ito Braga. Muito obrigada, professor, por nos permitir estar aqui hoje. Agradecer a todos os professores presentes aqui, inicialmente, alguns convidados externos. Destaco aqui a presença da nossa colega Gisele Barata, professora da UFRA, que estava comentando há pouco com ela, de que foi ela que nos aproximou da CAPES no contexto dos acordos transformativos, Soraya. Numa visita, numa reunião de pró-reitores em Brasília, a Gisele nos levou até o escritório da Andréa Carvalho, né? E nós aí tomamos conhecimento dos detalhes de como que funciona, como que iria funcionar os acordos transformativos. O que são os acordos transformativos? Acho que eles vão falar um pouco, mas eu já antecipo. É uma oportunidade que a CAPES dá para a ciência brasileira, de que a gente possa publicar em acesso aberto, sem pagar taxa de publicação. É a agência que paga. Isso é muito importante, porque isso facilita para toda a comunidade científica. E vocês sabem que não há progresso científico sem que a comunidade internacional veja o que nós estamos fazendo, né? Então, assim, é um momento muito rico, né, para nós. Quero que vocês aproveitem bastante. O evento está sendo transmitido pelo YouTube para os nossos campi. Nós temos 11 campi, além do campus de Belém, da UFPA, e, na maioria deles, existem disciplinas, existem cursos da área das exatas, né? Engenharias, no campus de Tucuruí. Queria saudar o pessoal de Tucuruí que está nos assistindo, Altamira, Castanhal, mandei a divulgação para lá, Bragança, enfim. Abaetetuba, que é um campus mais perto, mas que não é fácil de chegar o acesso dos estudantes. Enfim, eu estou me prolongando, gente, que é para valorizar bastante o nosso evento e deixar registrado aqui Percebo que temos representantes da Pró-Reitoria de Pesquisa e Pós-Graduação, aqui também, o nosso diretor, o professor Antônio Abelém, muito obrigada. Né? E agradecer particularmente aos estudantes. Esse evento foi feito para vocês, porque os professores já sabem como publicar e já sabem os caminhos dos acordos transformativos, mas os estudantes não. Né, não todos. Né? Nós temos aqui estudantes de mestrado, doutorado, eu acredito até que de graduação, né? E eu tenho certeza que será um excelente evento, tá? E que nós, se vocês gostarem, se vocês nos demandarem, nós traremos de novo a I3E, a Belém e a nossa universidade. Eu queria apresentar a equipe que está aqui, representando a I3E, Antônio, o Everson, a Esther, que é a nossa palestrante húngara, né? Thank you very much for you to stay with us today. Nós teremos a tradução simultânea, como eu já tinha comentado. E um agradecimento muito especial para a Soraya, que representa... Soraya, levante aí para as pessoas verem você. A Soraya representa a CAPES, ela está representando o setor lá dos periódicos. Andréa Carvalho, que é a responsável, não pôde vir, mas está muito bem representada aqui. Então, eu queria que, em seu nome, agradecer à professora Denise Carvalho, a presidente da CAPES, e a todos os gestores que estão nos presenteando com esse magnífico evento hoje. Tá? Eu vou passar, então, muito obrigada a todos vocês. Eu vou passar a palavra agora para a Soraya, que vai conduzir a sequência de falas neste evento. Muito obrigada novamente e vamos aproveitar.
Bom dia, pessoal. Bom dia a todos que estão aí online. Opa, deixa eu... a todos que estão presentes, a todos que estão online. Queria só agradecer a professora Iracilda também, ao UFPA, e queria só esclarecer que esse evento é um evento que a I3E também está promovendo, né, o roadshow da I3E. Depois eu vou convidar o Everson para falar um pouquinho. Então, eu vou falar a primeira parte da CAPES, depois ele explica um pouquinho como funciona essa dinâmica do roadshow, que já aconteceu ano passado. Esse ano, só essa semana, nós já estamos na 4ª cidade, né? Nós estivemos em Salvador, Recife, Fortaleza, e hoje estamos aqui em Belém, né, para apresentar para vocês. Meu nome é Soraya Costa, eu sou coordenadora de gestão da informação científica no portal de periódicos da CAPES. O portal de periódicos agora faz parte de uma nova diretoria, que é a Diretoria de Informação Científica e Estudos Avançados, né? Uma diretoria que começou em dezembro, mas o portal de periódicos tem 25 anos. Né? E vocês estão conseguindo me ouvir bem? Está tranquilo? Tá. E a CAPES, esse ano, está fazendo 75 anos. A CAPES, que começou em 1951 para apoiar a pós-graduação brasileira, né? Fortalecer a pós-graduação brasileira, os mestrados, os doutorados. A gente tem linhas de fomento, de bolsas, de projetos nacionais, internacionais, para a formação de professores da educação básica também, né? Que a partir de 2007 a CAPES também passou a fomentar essa parte da formação dos professores da educação básica. E nós temos a diretoria de avaliação, que faz a avaliação dos programas de pós-graduação em parceria com as 50 áreas de avaliação, naqueles ciclos quadrienais, né? Então, muitos de vocês já devem ter, em algum momento, preenchido plataforma Sucupira, né? E tido acesso à plataforma Sucupira. Agora também a gente tem a parte de bolsas com a plataforma Aberta Lutz, unindo, né, todos os programas que a gente tem. E a gente tem esse programa de disseminação da informação científica com o portal de periódicos, que é sobre o qual eu vou falar um pouquinho aqui. Eu vou só tirar esse, que aqui está quente, né? Estamos em Belém. Vamos... Deixa eu ver como que eu... Pronto. Então, nós vamos falar hoje sobre a publicação em periódicos internacionais de acesso aberto, com apoio da CAPES. E vamos começar falando um pouquinho sobre os desafios que a gente tem, né, na comunicação científica, que são muitos, né? Então, desde a questão da sustentabilidade financeira, né, essa parte da infraestrutura editorial e tecnológica, capacidade técnica, capacidade de gestão, parte do reconhecimento, da visibilidade, e como que a gente consegue resolver, ou pelo menos melhorar um pouquinho isso. A gente precisa coordenar os esforços, né? E aí coordenar os pesquisadores, instituições, os formuladores de políticas e os editores. E o portal de periódicos vem aí para tentar ajudar um pouquinho nessa parte, promovendo aí esse fortalecimento dos programas de pós-graduação como principal missão, né? Então, a gente apoia 452 instituições de ensino superior, hoje com os contratos que a gente tem com as editoras internacionais e também com outras formas de fomento, né? Então, um orçamento aí de 323 milhões de reais ano passado. Esse ano a previsão é um pouquinho maior, mas apesar de parecer muito dinheiro, não é. Porque para a gente dividir esse dinheiro para contratos com tantas editoras, a gente tem quase 70 contratos hoje ativos, beneficiando 452 instituições, então esse dinheiro acaba sendo pouco. Então, a gente permite hoje acesso a mais de 40 mil títulos só de periódicos em texto completo. Uma base de livros de mais de 200 mil livros a gente tem, né? E a gente agora tem esses acordos de leitura e publicação e o acordo com o Cielo. Então, aqui está o portal de periódicos, né? O site, então, periódicos.capes.gov.br. Quando vocês entram no portal de periódicos aqui da UFPA, vai aparecer ali no cantinho, você está logado na UFPA. Isso significa que vocês estão com acesso ao conteúdo disponível para a UFPA. Caso vocês estejam acessando de casa e queiram ter acesso ao conteúdo que está disponível para a UFPA, vocês precisam fazer o login ali no... Deixa eu ver se aqui tem um apontador. Bem, ali, ó, onde está o acesso café, né? Faz o login e vocês vão conseguir ter acesso a esse conteúdo disponibilizado para a UFPA. Diariamente, nós temos treinamentos. Para entrar nesses treinamentos, podem entrar por essas três barrinhas aqui, ou um pouquinho mais aqui abaixo da página, vai ter a parte de treinamentos. Acesse o calendário, vão ver todas as oportunidades de treinamento. A gente divide esses treinamentos em semanas destinadas a cada área de avaliação, mas essa é a parte específica do treinamento. A parte básica do treinamento, a parte inicial do treinamento, ela é para todo mundo. Então, diariamente, às 9 da manhã e às 14 horas, nós temos treinamentos básicos do portal de periódicos da CAPES. A primeira parte do treinamento, ela é sempre mostrando dicas de como pesquisar os serviços que a gente tem no portal, fala um pouquinho do portal de periódicos, então quem nunca participou desses treinamentos vale a pena. Para a área de engenharias, sem ser na próxima semana, a outra, semana do dia 20, nós teremos os treinamentos da área de engenharias, tá? Então, as editoras que são voltadas para a área de engenharia, no dia 21 de maio, o treinamento da parte específica do I3E, e também em junho, nós vamos ter 2 treinamentos mais gerais, dados pelas bibliotecárias do portal. Um vai ser dia 1º de junho e outro dia 22 de junho. Né? Esse vai falar sobre os acordos de leitura e publicação, que a professora Silda referiu como acordos transformativos. Né? A gente tem chamado eles agora de acordos de leitura e publicação. Então, quando vocês virem, acordos de leitura e publicação são esses. Tá? Então, 1º de junho e 22 de junho. Vai falar um pouquinho também sobre o PADICT, que é o nosso programa de apoio à disseminação da informação científica e tecnológica, que eu vou falar um pouquinho dele aqui. Então, essa é a parte de treinamentos. No portal, a gente também tem aqui as buscas, né, que podem ser feitas aqui por dentro. E essa parte aqui, quando você se loga, aqui mudou um pouco, eu não sei se vocês já viram as mudanças, né? Agora a gente está podendo entrar pelo GovBR, pelo cadastro básico da CAPES, ou com a senha e o acesso do OrcID, tá? Assim, e mais para o final da página do portal tem uma parte de Fale Conosco, que, caso vocês tenham qualquer dúvida, ali tem uma relação dos nossos serviços e dúvidas mais frequentes que vocês podem, caso tenha alguma dúvida, enviar para a gente o formulário e a gente responde na hora. Esses formulários eles vão para as equipes que melhor respondem cada um dos temas. Então, é o canal mais indicado para falar com o portal de periódicos, é ali via Fale Conosco do portal de periódicos, certo? E como que nós estamos com relação ao acesso aberto, né? O acesso aberto e o portal de periódicos. Então, em 2023, nós tivemos essa portaria 275, que é a portaria que institui o Programa de Apoio à Disseminação da Informação Científica e Tecnológica, que a gente chama de PADICT, né, que é o principal programa aí do portal de periódicos. Um dos objetivos dele é justamente possibilitar aí o funcionamento e atualização do portal de periódicos e também essa parte da otimização e aquisição de assinatura de conteúdos científicos e publicações eletrônicas. Então, uma boa parte do nosso trabalho no portal de periódicos é a fazer a análise desses conteúdos que as áreas precisam, fazer as negociações com as editoras, né, para conseguir fechar esses contratos e, tendo os contratos, disponibilizar para o maior número de universidades possível, que estejam dentro daquela área e que queiram acesso àquele conteúdo. Nós temos conversado lá na CAPES com essa parte do acesso aberto. Ela é uma discussão que vem vindo nos últimos anos, vem crescendo, né? E ela veio muito do incômodo dos pesquisadores com relação aos direitos autorais de suas pesquisas, a esse compartilhamento dos resultados da pesquisa, né? Mas ela vai muito além, inclusive, da pesquisa, né? Então, compartilhamento de dados, compartilhamento de informações, rede de troca de pesquisadores, e a CAPES tem se preocupado também e incentivado a ciência aberta, né, para que o conhecimento realmente ele seja disseminado da forma mais ampla possível e gere mais resultados, tenha mais alcance. E o que a gente tem feito, né? A gente tem essa estratégia para mudar, que antes a gente pagava apenas pelo acesso, como a professora Iracilda explicou, e agora a gente tem apoiado, além da leitura, também a publicação e a governança. Então, nós temos investido no Cielo, né, que é uma infraestrutura aberta, né, com periódicos abertos, nacionais em sua maioria, e também alguns internacionais. O Cielo, a leitura não é paga, mas para que ele funcione tem que ter um subsídio, né, um apoio por trás. E a CAPES é uma dessas instituições que investem aí no Cielo. As políticas de apoio aos APCs, os APCs, as taxas de processamento de artigo, né, que são cobradas aí para publicação, a CAPES está com esses acordos de leitura e publicação justamente para que o pesquisador não precise arcar com essas taxas, né? A gente, nos acordos, vai pagar essas taxas. E também a parte dos o depósito em repositórios institucionais, a gente tem incentivado também a Via Verde, né? Então, a possibilidade de colocar manuscritos que estão sendo divulgados em acesso fechado, algumas editoras permitem colocar nos repositórios institucionais, a Esther vai falar um pouquinho disso, também a parte das teses e dissertações, né? A gente tem aí na CAPES buscado cada vez mais a interoperabilidade das bases da plataforma Scupira com os repositórios institucionais, né? E tudo isso para construir uma estratégia de investimentos coordenada para apoiar a diversidade e independência da ciência. E hoje nós temos ativos, vigentes, 7 acordos de leitura e publicação, né? Então, com a ACS, de Química, com a Association Computing Machinery, a ACM, né? Dessa parte de computação, o IEEE, Royal Society Publish, que é a RSP, Springer Nature, o I3E e a Elsevier, né? Os acordos, a parte da submissão, a parte da análise, é muito semelhante. Todos os acordos são muito semelhantes. Então, o que a Esther vai explicar aqui para vocês com relação ao I3E, vai ter pouca diferença com relação às outras editoras. E a parte da análise da CAPES é exatamente igual. Sobre esses acordos, a gente tem lá no site do portal de periódicos essa parte do acesso aberto, pagamento de APC, pagamento de artigo APC, né, que vai detalhar assim, quais são os requisitos, o que são esses acordos, mas também vai ter a parte de cada editor, e essa parte de cada editor vai ter as instituições elegíveis, os periódicos elegíveis, né, e o que tem de específico em cada contrato. Aqui está a outra parte lá dos treinamentos, que eu tinha falado para vocês antes. Ó, além daquelas 3 barrinhas, vocês também podem entrar aqui por essa parte dos treinamentos e acessar o calendário. Para fazer inscrição nos treinamentos, precisa estar logado, né? E para conseguir o certificado também, vai pegar aqui nessa parte logada. No site da CAPES, também com relação aos APCs, vocês podem ter acesso aos números, né, de quantos APCs já foram aprovados no âmbito desses acordos. Aqui no CAPES em números, entra nesse painel Article Processing Charges, APC, e vão ver os números. Aqui está um exemplo. Esse número do I3E está atualizado até dezembro de 2025. O número hoje já passa de 860, só no I3E, no total dos acordos, os 7 acordos, já foram mais de 4.500 artigos publicados com fomento da CAPES. E como participar, né, do acordo de leitura e publicação? O processo de submissão ele é exatamente igual ao processo que vocês fariam sem o fomento da CAPES. Tá? Então, vocês vão submeter o artigo de vocês no site da editora, da revista, vão escolher a revista, vão submeter com as regras da revista, né? E a revista vai identificar que vocês são da UFPA a partir do e-mail institucional de vocês, do nome da instituição que foi selecionado lá no momento da submissão. Esse artigo sendo aprovado, ou seja, a gente não vai interferir em nada nesse processo de aprovação, né? O artigo sendo aprovado, a editora vai se comunicar com a CAPES, vai enviar para a CAPES essa solicitação de pagamento de APC, caso os autores tenham solicitado que o artigo deles seja publicado em acesso aberto com fomento da CAPES. Então, a nossa conversa vai ser com os editores e a conversa de vocês vai ser com os editores. Os editores são o nosso intermediário aí, né? Então, vocês submetem para a revista vai, uma vez aprovado, e com a solicitação de cobertura da taxa de processamento de artigo, e sendo da instituição elegível, né, a editora vai enviar para a CAPES essa solicitação de pagamento de APC. E o que a gente vai olhar lá na CAPES? Né, lá na CAPES, a gente segue essa portaria 120, de 26 de abril de 2024, que regulamenta aí esse pagamento dos APCs. Né? Então, a gente vai olhar se o periódico está no contrato, se a instituição está no contrato, se o contrato está vigente, claro, né? E vamos ver se vocês optaram pela licença CC BY. Essa é a única licença que a CAPES vai aceitar, mesmo que a editora dê a opção para vocês de outros tipos de licença, caso vocês queiram o fomento da CAPES, é a CC BY. E também vamos verificar se o autor é elegível. Como que esse autor vai ser elegível? Ele tem que estar cumprindo aí os requisitos do artigo 10, inciso 1 da portaria, 120, e a gente vai olhar o vínculo e a presença de um ORCID único cadastrado nos meus dados da CAPES. Esse vínculo, o que a gente está considerando? Docentes, discentes de mestrado e doutorado, egressos com até 5 anos de titulação, a contar da titulação até a data de submissão do artigo, tá? E também agentes públicos, então, funcionários da universidade, pós-doutorandos, quem tiver algum vínculo com a universidade, a gente vai estar considerando. E como que a gente verifica isso? A gente vai verificar esse vínculo na plataforma Scupira, né? Então, deixem os cadastros de vocês atualizados na plataforma Scupira, porque é lá que a gente vai olhar esse vínculo. Tá? Então, na plataforma Scupira, a gente tem os vínculos de docente, e aí pode ser o docente permanente, docente visitante, docente colaborador, desde que esteja ativo, vai poder participar do acordo. Os discentes, mestrado e doutorado, né? Os pós-doutorandos também tem lá na plataforma Scupira. E quem não está na plataforma Scupira? Professores de graduação, por exemplo, que não fazem parte de nenhum programa da pós-graduação. Como que a gente vai olhar? No caso das federais, a gente vai olhar no portal da transparência. Então, se o vínculo não estiver na plataforma Scupira, não estiver no portal da transparência, a gente vai ter que solicitar um comprovante de vínculo para esse autor. A gente vai estar olhando sempre os dados do autor correspondente com a revista, né? Então, você pode ser o primeiro, o segundo autor, a gente vai olhar o autor correspondente. Então, por exemplo, no caso de estudantes de graduação que estejam participando de projetos de pós-graduação, a gente sugere que ele não seja o autor correspondente, senão a gente vai acabar rejeitando o pagamento do APC, porque quem a gente está considerando é o autor correspondente. Tá? E o ORCID. O ORCID, a gente precisa que vocês cadastrem ele aqui, ó, no meusdados.capes.gov.br. Quem não tem ainda o ORCID vinculado, vinculem. Os coautores também, a gente não vai checar o vínculo dos coautores, mas a gente recomenda que todos os coautores dos artigos tenham esse cadastro do ORCID, porque o ORCID hoje, gente, é o CPF do pesquisador. Então, vocês precisam ter o ORCID cadastrado, tá? Nos meus dados da CAPES, para a gente poder desambiguar, né? Então, assim, H. Silva, como eu vou saber quem é o H. Silva? Mas se ele tiver o ORCID ali, eu vou conseguir identificar quem é essa pessoa e vou saber o que ela publica, em que área ela está. Então, hoje, ORCID cadastrado é muito importante e cadastrado nos meus dados da CAPES, vocês a gente vai conseguir ver se vocês já foram bolsistas, o vínculo de vocês na plataforma Scupira, vai conseguir fazer essa relação de quem está publicando, onde isso ajuda muito, inclusive, para a gente gerar estatísticas para fazer políticas públicas, né? Então, e quanto mais políticas públicas para fortalecer a pós-graduação, melhor para todo mundo, né? Então, aqui, ó, vocês vão entrar no meusdados.capes.gov.br, vir nessa aba Identificadores e incluir um novo identificador. Ele vai aparecer aqui, vai aparecer esse símbolo verde, se tudo tiver dado certo. Mas, para poder fazer isso, primeiro vocês têm que ter ido lá na página do ORCID e fazer um cadastro no ORCID. Tá? Uma outra coisa não estou conseguindo entrar nos meus dados da CAPES, o que eu posso fazer? Tem a opção também, a entrada lá no meus dados da CAPES é igual a do portal, né, com GovBR, com cadastro da CAPES, com ORCID. Né? Se tiver qualquer dificuldade assim, com relação a meus dados não estão corretos, a gente utiliza a base da Receita Federal para poder atualizar, buscar os dados. Então, se seus dados de nome ou qualquer outro dado não está correto, tem que atualizar lá na base da Receita Federal. E na base da Receita Federal, depois vocês vêm aqui, ó, nos documentos pessoais, e tem um botãozinho aqui que vai falar assim, atualize os dados. de acordo com a Receita Federal, e aqui vai estar tudo certo. Então, atualizou na Receita, aqui vai estar certo. Esses são exceções. A maioria de vocês já tem cadastro atualizado, já tem ORCID cadastrado, né? Então, isso facilita bastante. Para a gente conseguir enxergar o ORCID, precisa que ele esteja aqui, ó, visível para todos ou para instituições confiáveis, tá? Então, esse everyone ou trusted parties. Então, se tudo isso estiver certinho, a gente consegue identificar vocês. Então, concluindo, o PADICT, né, e os acordos de leitura e publicação firmados pelo portal, eles foram feitos para ampliar esse acesso ao conhecimento, ampliar essa disseminação da informação científica, né? E é muito importante frisar que esses acordos, eles já foram fechados, eles já têm um valor fixo que a gente acorda com as editoras, a gente negocia muito para a gente ter um valor reduzido nessas taxas de processamento de artigo. Mas pode ser que muitos de vocês, na hora que receberem o aceite do artigo, vão falar assim, olha, a sua taxa foi de tanto, $2.000, $4.000, $6.000. Não se preocupem. Se você aceitar, a CAPES não vai pagar nada a mais por isso. A CAPES já pagou o acordo, é um preço negociado, né? E foi negociado para publicações ilimitadas. Então, é para vocês utilizarem, é para vocês publicarem o máximo dentro desses acordos, porque aí sim esse acordo vai estar valendo a pena. Tá bom? É isso, gente. Muito obrigada. Aqui estão os contatos lá do periódicos, periódicos@capes.gov.br, a nossa coordenação geral, né, a CGPIC, esse e-mail cgpic@capes.gov.br. Vocês precisando, podem falar comigo, né, e se tiverem qualquer dúvida, lá no Fale Conosco da CAPES também. Tá? Alguém tem alguma dúvida, alguma pergunta sobre as partes que eu falei? Tem muita coisa relacionada à submissão do I3E, que a Esther vai detalhar, mas se alguém tiver alguma pergunta com relação à parte da CAPES... Não? Então, eu vou chamar aqui o Everson, do I3E, para ele falar um pouquinho sobre o roadshow, e depois a gente passa a palavra para a Esther.
Obrigado, Soraya. Bom dia a todos, pessoal. Tudo bem com vocês? Satisfação estar aqui com vocês que estão aqui presencialmente, aqueles que nos acompanham pela web. Dizer, professora, que é uma satisfação muito grande para a gente estar aqui, viu? E a gente queria muito agradecer a sua colaboração com toda a equipe, né, da UFPA que fez esse evento acontecer. Dizer para nós aqui da EBSCO, né, eu sou gerente regional da EBSCO. A EBSCO, para quem não conhece, já tem parceria com a UFPA. Nós somos a maior empresa provedora de recursos informacionais de pesquisa do mundo e temos essa parceria com a CAPES e com o I3E, representamos o I3E não apenas aqui na região brasileira, mas também para toda a América Latina. Então, o I3E, por não ter operações de negócio, né, do I3E aqui no Brasil e em outros países da América Latina, a EBSCO é o agente principal do I3E na divisão América Latina, tá? Bem, como a Soraya falou logo no início, nós aqui da EBSCO fizemos esse evento o ano passado, nós iniciamos esse roadshow do I3E ano passado pela USP, Unicamp, o FRJ, o FRN, o FMG e encerramos na UFC do Ceará, né? Então, esse ano, quando veio a possibilidade de nós trazermos pela primeira vez o evento para a região norte, é claro que a gente teria que priorizar aqui a UFPA. Então, a professora Iracilda fez todo o movimento junto com os departamentos para que isso fosse possível acontecer, pela importância do evento, né, da raridade ter algum representante do I3E aqui no Brasil, e também para esclarecer esse acordo dessa tríplice aliança que nós temos entre EBSCO, I3E e o portal de periódicos da CAPES. Então, para nós é só mesmo estender os nossos agradecimentos a todos vocês, a professora Iracilda, e qualquer dúvida que vocês tiverem no final do evento, a gente vai reabrir novamente para ter uma interação maior com vocês que estão aqui presentes e o pessoal que está nos acompanhando de casa. Tá bom? Muito obrigado.
I don't need that. This one? Okay. Let's switch it on. Okay. Yes, now. Okay, thank you very much for so many of you joining this presentation, and thank you for the wonderful translation at the back. I hope it's going to be easy. I'm not a native speaker of English, so maybe it's helpful sometimes. So let's start with one fun part, which we're going to do at the end of the presentation. We're going to play a quiz. So you can, just for fun, just at the end, to see how well you paid attention, and there are going to be some fun prizes, but we will show this QR code again after my presentation, okay? And just for those of you who have not registered for this event, here is a QR code. You can register now. So I have your email address and your name to issue these certificates. We promised IEEE certificates. So I can show you these QR codes later again. Okay, so I work for the organization IEEE, which stands for Institute of Electrical and Electronics Engineers. It was founded back at the end of the 19th century as the American Institute of Electrical Engineers. It was founded by Alexander Graham Bell and Thomas Edison. Also, Nikola Tesla was a member of IEEE, and there was another organization, the Institute of Radio Engineers, led by Guillermo Marconi, and these organizations merged in the 60s, and this is how we have our logo as well, and we called IEEE. Can you understand me? Is this working, the translation? Okay. Okay, so we have all around the world almost 500,000 members. We are the biggest membership organization in the world. And we also have thousands of members in Brazil. Is there someone in the room who is an IEEE member or member of one of our societies? Please raise your hand. No? But I think there are student members, okay, at least. And we are an important publisher of technical literature like journals and magazines. We publish more than 200 different journals and magazines, and we also organize yearly 2,000 conferences, or we sponsor technical conferences, more than 2,000. IEEE is also famous in developing technical standards. Have you heard about any technical standard, like a norma, or I don't know, norma? For example, the Wi-Fi standards, has been developed by IEEE, or the standard like the Ethernet, the Bluetooth. These are all developed in standard working groups by engineers worldwide, and these are IEEE standards. These are very often adopted, even in Brazil, as a national standard, and many products are using them and engineers are following them. So everything what we publish is published in the IEEE Xplore digital library. You have access to the content of this digital library thanks to CAPES. And if you would like to learn about the activities of the IEEE Brazil section, please visit their website. You can they organize also meetings, conferences, congresses for students and young professionals, so it makes sense to check it out. Of course, what we publish is peer-reviewed and vetted before publication. That's the core of every scientific information. It has to be, well, publications, it has to be vetted before it's published, and it has to go via a rigorous peer review and vetting process. Our journals belong to the highest ranked journals in their disciplines. I mentioned electrical engineering, electrical and electronic engineering, telecommunication, computer science, imaging, etc. IEEE has the highest ranked journals in these fields based on the journal impact factor. I'm not sure if you're familiar with what journal impact factor means, but basically it has been developed to measure the quality of journals, to compare, and it is a very strict criteria. There is a company, Clarivate Analytics, who publishes every year the journal citation report, and you can look into this report, check, let's say your discipline is material science, and you can see what are the most important scientific journals in this field. And we have the very important journals in electrical engineering, etc. Also, if we compare to any other publisher, like the big publishers, Elsevier, Riley, Springer, IEEE has the most highest quality journals in these technical disciplines, like you can see telecommunication, automation, and of course, electrical engineering. This is important when you are planning to publish. We will discuss this later. It is really important where you publish and how is the reputation of the publisher and the journal where you're going to publish. This is really important because that makes a difference also for your university rankings, etc. And also for the professors, I think they also tend to publish in journals which at least have a so-called impact factor. That's a quality criteria. We also publish in the field of artificial intelligence. We have one of the major publishers on artificial intelligence. We have started many, many years ago to publish on machine learning, deep learning, neural networks. We publish more than 500,000 articles in this field. And these publications are also having an impact on patents. Okay, this is in English for some reason, but patents are citing IEEE publication very, very often as state-of-the-art to show what has been published before, to prove a novelty of an idea. Patents are citing, referencing a lot of so-called non-patent literature, and IEEE is really leader in the field of AI citations in patents. And we also develop technical standards in the field of artificial intelligence, and especially in the field of ethical use of artificial intelligence. That's a really important topic. Many of you are going to use artificial intelligence when you are when you finish your studies. There are important questions how you could do and use this ethically. Are you allowed to train a large language model on some data? How are these regulated? What guidelines you should use? So IEEE has developed also 2 different technical standards in this field on the ethical use of artificial intelligence. This is going to be part of our future, and this is an important question as well. Okay, why would you publish with the IEEE? So, there are many publishers, of course, but what is for you, maybe you are already published before, what is an important criteria for you when you decide where to publish? Does it matter if it's IEEE? Could be any journal. So this I mentioned, and we will discuss later the problem with predatory publishers. Okay, so the core and your goal basically as a researcher is to publish your research results to share with your colleagues internationally in your field. You would like to publish your research results for your colleagues who are working in a similar field internationally. And you would like to make an impact. And this impact is also measured by citations to your article. And IEEE is publisher for many, many years. We publish journals for more than 100 years. Our journals are indexed in the databases Web of Science and Scopus, which shows a quality, first of all. Not all journals are meeting that criteria, okay? And also hundreds of IEEE conferences are indexed in Web of Science and Scopus. And we are also member of many organizations, and our journals are the highest quality for many, many years. Okay. And the publications are then published in IEEE Xplore Digital Library, and as I mentioned, they are findable, indexed also in other databases, not just in IEEE Xplore. Oh, this is the wrong slide again, so one moment. This is also wrong slide again. Is this the correct one? Para? It's the university. This one. Yes, is this correct? Okay, I mixed up the slides. So currently, we have 1,200 publications from authors at this university. They were published between 1983 and today. And this paper, for example, from 2014, has been already cited by 290 publications. So this is a screenshot from our digital library, IEEE Xplore, and I searched for the publications of your university. And here you're going to see some of the authors who are most frequently publishing in our journals and conferences. I can show you this again. So this is not the complete list. There are many, many others more. Do you recognize some names? Okay, then this is the right. Is there someone in the room who was in the list? Okay, is here? Okay, so, and 105 of these publications are open access, thanks to the CAPES agreement. What is open access? And I think it has been explained. That means it is available to anyone around the world without a subscription or without payment. Anyone can access the article in IEEE Xplore, and it has been published under a Creative Commons license. So 105 articles. And if you publish at the IEEE in Xplore, we are generating these author profiles for you based on the data from your publications, your biography. So this author, do you know him? Okay, so then he published at least more than 100 papers. These papers received more than 1,200 citations, but they're even more higher number if you look into Web of Science or Scopus. And his biography is from the latest published article of him in 2025. He has this ORCID ID, it's really important. It has been explained, I think, why there is another person, another author with 21 publications and also affiliated with this university. Yeah, so just to show you some authors from your university. And of course, in electrical engineering and computer science, IEEE is probably the #1 publisher, but we publish in many, many different disciplines. I'm not sure from which areas you are. We cover all technical areas, including robotics, mechanical engineering, biomedical engineering as well, nanotechnology, etc. So many, many different fields. You have the option to publish at least in one of our conferences or in one of our journals. So what do we do before in preparation to a submission? The core and the first and very important part is to do a literature review, to search for technical papers in your field to see what has been published before, and this is important, of course, also for your master thesis, for your PhD thesis. You have to do literature review. And it's not enough to ask a tool what papers you should reference or something like this. You have to do this research on your own. You have to search in IEEE Xplore, in Science Direct, in Web of Science, whatever you have. And there is an important and very helpful feature. You can create in IEEE Xplore a personal account. Anyone can create this personal account, and you can automate the searching. So you can enter some keywords and save a search. That means you will receive email notifications when a new paper has been published in your field, or your professor published a new paper and you would like to get a notification about his new papers. So this, for any type of saving searches and personalization, you need this personal account. And please use in these digital libraries the advanced search and enter your fields, your keywords, your interesting keywords you would like to search papers for. And in the advanced search, you can select between different fields. And one of the fields is the full text and metadata field. So why is this important? When you are preparing for your PhD thesis, or if you are preparing your article to submit to one of the journals, you have to know all the literature which is relevant in your field. If you miss the literature, your paper will not even go into review. Because it's so obvious that this author doesn't even know the most important journals or conferences. So this is a very important part. And you have to dig deeper. You have to search with your keywords within the full text and metadata field. That means you are searching with these terms. In this case, it's on generative AI and retriever augmented generation. And you have to search within the whole article, from the introduction part, methodology part, conclusion, etc. The metadata, this is what usually Google Scholar is searching. That means only you are searching within the title of the articles, the abstract, and the index terms. That's a small part of your article. When you're doing your PhD and searching for literature, you have to do advanced searching and go into the full text and metadata field. Otherwise, you will miss important technical literature to cite or to consider, or even to decide if a problem is important enough to start to solve. You have to know what has been published, and you have to find these papers. Okay. How many of you are using IEEE Xplore already? Or, okay, some of you. There are other digital libraries, they have very similar ways of searching. So if you go to Springer, Elsevier, etc., but it's really important for the PhD students. And we have introduced a new way of searching or a new way of literature review, you can change in IEEE Xplore between the document view to the image view. So instead of seeing the title of the articles, you can look into the figures, pictures directly and decide if an article is relevant or not for you. So this is the image search, and you can change between documents view or images view. This is relatively new, and please test it if you like. And of course, you will find the title, and you have to read the article. I emphasize this very often because I hear from PhD students that they sometimes use a tool and ask the tool, please recommend me literature, and they don't even read the articles. That is really, really dangerous game. If you rely on something, a tool, an AI tool, where you don't even know what source that tool is using, that's really dangerous. Because you have to actually read those articles, what you are referencing and citing in your PhD thesis or in your article. Okay. So let's start and try to identify good journals or conferences for you. It's not so easy if you have never published before. How would you know where to submit a paper, which are the conferences you could attend, which are the journals you could start. But the very best approach is those conferences and maybe those journals and books are the best choices for you to publish, where you find the best literature closest in your field. It's really obvious. So those journals and those, let's say, conferences are the best way to start your first submission, where you get the best results, the closest papers in your field. If you don't know where to start, you should, of course, always consult your professor and supervisor. They are very experienced, they have a good understanding of the different journals or the different aim and scope of the journals. And before you go to your professor, in preparation, you can use this publication recommender tool. If you Google it, it's called IEEE Publication Recommender Tool. It's available for anyone. We developed this for authors to help them find good IEEE journals and conferences. You can enter a keyword into the search box, or you can even upload a short summary of your paper in English, and this tool will recommend you periodicals, so either journals or magazines, and also conferences from the IEEE. Other publishers, they have similar tools, okay? But if you are in electrical engineering or computer science, this is IEEE is very important for you. So here, my topic is on intelligent tutor, okay? And this tool suggested me several journals, and the most relevant are here: the IEEE Intelligent Systems Journal, the IEEE Transactional Learning Technologies, and several others. You can see if open access publishing is possible in these journals in the second column. So open access is available, but this magazine, for example, there is no open access possibility. In the third column, you see the impact factor of the journals. That is, with impact factor, again, I mean the impact factor published in the journal citation report. And the last column, you see how long it takes in average between submitting your article to the journal and the publishing time on IEEE Xplore Digital Library. And you can see it can take several months. So you have to calculate that the peer review process for journals can take 3 months, 6 months, sometimes even longer, unfortunately. So if you are, let's say, a PhD student and you have some deadlines, you have to consider this, that this can take longer. Yeah, and you have several options. Still, all of these journals, they have different aim and scope. You have to dig deeper and read the journals. And on the second slide, you see how many conferences, like there are more, but I highlighted these two. These are IEEE conferences. One of them is in Australia, the other one is in Japan. This could be interesting in this topic on intelligent tutors. Here you see the abstract submission deadline for your paper. And each of these conferences, they have their own website, and you have to read the information on the website, on the call for papers, the author information. And this conference is online, but most of the IEEE conferences are in person. That means there are travel costs you have to consider, and also there are registration costs for the conferences. If you are an IEEE member, there are discounts for the registration cost. It makes sense for students maybe to get a membership. That's the cheapest membership we have for students. And some conferences are online, so you can avoid the travel cost. But in any case, you have to be present to present your paper at the time of the conference. So for the conferences, you are preparing a presentation, and you have to be available during that time to present. If you don't present the paper, even if it's accepted to the conference, your paper is not going to be published in IEEE Xplore. So you have to present. So if you don't know where to start, we have this IEEE Publication Recommender tool. You can check with your keywords and talk to your professor and supervisor, of course. Unfortunately, you cannot submit the same article at several journals at the same time and just wait who is accepting. You have to wait until the peer review for the journal article has been finished. Okay. Yeah, so this is where to start. Of course, all of these journals, they have different aim and scope, and you have to read that carefully as well. Okay. But what are the basic differences between a journal article and a conference paper? Have you ever attended a conference or read a conference paper as a part of the proceeding? Journal articles are different. So, and we will just mention some of the differences. In engineering, conferences are a very important part of the scientific community and communication. They are sometimes other disciplines where they tend to publish more journals. In humanities, they publish more books. But in engineering, these two are really frequently used, conference papers and journal articles. You can go to a conference to present preliminary results of your ongoing research, maybe not the end results, but they are important enough to be shared with your community. And you can do this maybe several times. You go to a conference for networking as well. You get feedback from the audience. They ask questions. It helps you to improve. And in fact, we recommend for students who have not yet published to go to IEEE conferences first. Even if you're not planning to go into research, maybe you just had a very nice master thesis, we recommend that you try to publish a conference paper. It's really good for your CV, it's for your career, it's helpful, because that conference paper is also in IEEE Xplore forever. It's going to be there in the Xplore. So, for the journals, original research papers are meant to represent your project, your research results, including end conclusions, of course, end results, more detailed description of the methodology, the conclusions, future idea, etc. So it's more detailed and more complete representation. What is also important to mention that only journals and magazines can have impact factor. If it's maybe a requirement for you to publish in a journal with an impact factor, you have to know that conferences do not have impact factor. But many IEEE conferences are indexed in Web of Science, and Scopus, which is a first, of course, quality criteria. Also, for the IEEE, you have to know that we do not have an open access program for our conferences. Only just a few of them have this option, but we have them for all of our journals and for some of our magazines, and the open access charges are covered by the CAPES agreement. So only for journals and magazines, but not for conference proceedings. And of course, they use completely different templates. You have to use the conference paper template for a conference, and all the IEEE journals and magazines, they have their own templates in Word or in LaTeX, what you can use for submission. And also the pre-review is different. For journals, you don't have to present the paper. You can submit a journal article anytime to one of our journals. But the conferences, they are deadlines, depending on the date of the conference. And we also have a lot of IEEE conferences in Brazil, where you could start to publish. Some of them are co-organized with some universities or IEEE societies in Brazil. So that's a really good first start for you. So we have them also all over. Or maybe this university could be in the future also organizing an IEEE conference once. Or maybe there was already an IEEE conference here. Okay. So let's talk, this is an important topic, the predatory publisher. Have you heard about predatory publishers before? Yes. So you probably receive sometimes these emails from unknown publisher, and they almost guarantee you that you can get published if you pay $200. This is a really bad sign for a predatory publisher. There is no peer review, no rigorous peer review or editing, nothing is happening. They just look for these payments. They promise that they even promise some type of impact factor, but those are not the real impact factor in the journal citation report. So you really have to be very careful, especially if you're a younger student or researcher. Please talk to your supervisor and professor, and do not publish in an unknown publisher research results, because there is no peer review, there is no added value, and there is, if you publish there, you cannot publish those results again at a good quality publisher. Okay. And these are just some tips. You could, these are some questions you could check for, of course. Visit the website of the journal, see who are the editors. But even that is sometimes just take in some names. You have to check which areas the journal has already published articles. If it's in all different areas from humanities to medicine, that really sounds really strange if they accept in many different publications. And I try to emphasize this really often, the quality of the periodicals. I think CAPES is publishing a list of kind of journals where they suggest to publish, but that is based on quality criteria. It's based on bibliographic factors like impact factor, article influence score is the English name, or site score from Scopus. These are all quality criteria for journals to consider. And check also, what do you know about the publisher? Is it well known? Does your professor knows this publisher? Is the publisher member of a society, maybe, or do they publish their description of their review process, etc. So these are important, questions to ask to decide if a publisher is a predatory publisher or if the publisher is a really scientific, reliable, reputable publisher. And this is really important because you can really harm your career if you publish research results at these publishers. And even the article is there, but maybe it will disappear in 2 years because the publisher doesn't exist anymore. There are no servers, nothing, okay? And you just pay $200 for nothing. Okay, so, good. In preparation for, let's say, a submission to one of our journals, I have to emphasize that they are within the IEEE 39 societies, and they are responsible for our journals, the magazines, and one of the biggest one is the IEEE Computer Society. They publish around 25 of our journals and a lot of very important, very important journals and highly regarded conferences, international conferences. So, one of the most frequent problems is that authors are not reading the guidelines of the journal where they are planning to publish. Of course, you have to carefully read the guidelines. How many pages are allowed? You can find information about the writing style, how to prepare your figures and tables, how to prepare for your cover letter when you are in the revision of your article. I will explain this later. So please read carefully the author guidelines, and you can also download the articles templates here. So very frequent problem, authors are not reading the author guidelines. And this is how you can find the journals of the author guidelines for the journals of the Computer Society and all the other societies. They have similar websites, really important. And you have to read the journal where you are planning to publish. That is absolutely necessary. But you can automate this searching. I mentioned this personal login. You can go to the website of the journal. This is a screenshot from IEEE Xplore. Read this part, aim and scope, very, very important for authors to read the aim and scope description of the journal. You can see here again these quality showing impact factor, eigenfactor, site score, this ranking, and enter on the top of the page your keywords, save a search, and you will be informed about all the published new articles in your field in that journal. This is really important. You have to know what has been published before in your target journal. You have to know who are the authors, how those results compare to your results, what literature they are citing, how they are structured, basically even to decide if your paper is ready to get published. So you have to read the journal, and you can automate the searching by setting a search alert in IEEE Xplore in this journal with this field, Intelligent Tutors. Okay, so these are some tips in preparation. But what happens after you submitted the online, you submitted the article to the online submission form? And that is where the peer review is happening. What it means, you can see in Portuguese, it means the article will be vetted by an independent expert who is not belong to the journal. These are the reviewers, independent experts. They are vetting the article, and they should also help you to improve the article. Improve, not just vetting, but also help to improve. And this is a really simplified, structure of what happens after you submit an article to one of our journals, but I think it's really similar also in other publishers and other journals. So, you submit the whole article online via the IEEE author portal to the journal. So each journal has a submission login. You register in this author portal, and first, your article will be pre-screened, and your goal is to pass this pre-screening, to go into the actual peer review. So the pre-screening. If the topic of your article does not fit to the journal, you will be rejected, okay? At this stage. You can get a rejection at this stage, and you cannot resubmit the article to the same journal. But some IEEE journals, they will help you to direct you maybe to a better IEEE journal. Okay, they will say, okay, this is maybe not the best fit for us, but there is another IEEE journal from the same society you could try. So if you pass this pre-screening, an associate editor is responsible to contact the reviewers, the experts in your field. Sometimes the author is asked to send a list of recommended reviewers, but there is no guarantee that those are in fact going to review the articles. So the associate editor reaches out to the experts, the reviewers, and depending on the journal and the topic, but at least 2 finished reviews are required to make any decision about your article. So 2 has to be finished. Sometimes more. If your topic is multidisciplinary, there could be even 5 finished reviews required for decision, okay? But after these reviews are ready, you can see the reviews in the online system as an author. And based on these reviews, the associate editor makes a recommendation to the editor-in-chief, and the editor-in-chief is who makes the final decision about your article, what should happen with the article. So, the final decision could be your paper is rejected. Still, our journals have a rejection rate of at least 70%, okay? And it's totally normal and frequent to get rejected. Your first goal, if you have not been published, to go via this review, because the review process should add value, should help to improve the article. If it's rejected, you can go to another journal, usually. But there at the other journal, you have to follow the resubmission policies. Well, or if you go to the revision, that means you have to create a revised version of your article. You have to write a cover letter, a letter to the journal, where you answer point by point each comment made by the reviewers. That's the revision means you have to create a revised version of the article based on the reviewer's comment and send it back to the journal within 30 days or 45 days. And hopefully after this cycle, your paper is going to be accepted for publication, and you can upload the final version to the portal. So this is the most basic description. There are sometimes major revision or minor revisions. There are differences. If it's a major revision, it could be that you create this revised version of the article, and it will be sent to another group of reviewers, not the same from the first cycle. Yeah. Do you have now any questions on the peer review? Because it's really complex. I mean, that's the core of the whole publishing. If you have any questions, we have microphones and you can ask them also in Portuguese, if you like, or we can address them at the end, if you like as well. Okay, so what are editors and reviewers looking for when they are proving or checking the articles? And these are just some basic points, and it's very similar to other publishers, I think, as well. So first of all, your article has to be in the scope of the journal, in the topics. They should be a good fit, of course. That's a frequent reason why papers got rejected, that the paper is not a good fit for the topic of the journal. Or novelty, they will check is anything has been added, is new in the paper. Is there any novelty or has that been added before which was not published before? That's really important. That's why it's important to do literature review, to read articles in your field, that you avoid that your paper is rejected because it's not new. It's nothing new you are adding. Substantially new, I mean. By far new more than before published. They will also check, is it important enough to get published? Okay, is it so important, your topic you are describing or trying to solve, is this important enough to get into this journal? They will also check, is it of interest for the readerships, for the readers? You have to consider here also that the journals are, of course, read by other researchers, governmental research, academia, but also by industry. 20% of our users are corporations, engineers who are working at corporations. So you have to think how others could benefit from your research. That is the interest. How could others benefit? You have to, of course, describe your ideas clearly and concisely, structure your ideas clearly, and we will also, of course, check if that's compliance, plagiarism check, authorship, etc. It's going to be checked. But now the core is this as well, validation of the research. They will validate if the methods, what you describe, do they fit to the results you are representing. The validation, the technical, scientific validation, they check also, of course, the citations of the papers, the reference list. But what could you do in support of validate this part? You could publish supplemental data to your article. So you could publish research data sets on IEEE Dataport, that is our own research data repository, or even more interesting, you could publish code on CodeOcean, code or algorithms corresponding to your research to prove the reproducibility of your results. It's really important, that's the core. Or make it transparent for others. How did you get your results? And many IEEE journals include these code into the peer review process. They will review the paper, but they will also review the code as well together in support of the paper. They say the future of publishing is going to be publishing papers, but also corresponding research data sets and codes together. And most of them or all of them should be open science or open access. And in Europe, it is required. Now, that researchers are publishing research data sets as well if they've been using governmental or European research funds. So, but here you are more liberal, but these are just options for you to use. But here you can still use these two options. This Code Ocean to use, it doesn't cost anything. It's something like GitHub, but it has been developed specially for publishing and publications. You can go to Code Ocean now and check out all the codes other published. So it's really helpful, and you can use it for free. Okay. Now, because it's an important part, we have to discuss as well the use of artificial intelligence. Every publisher has a policy on how it is allowed and what you have to do if you've been using a generative AI tool in preparation for your paper, submission, or code. You have to disclose if you've been using a generative AI tool to generate text, figures, images, or even code corresponding to the publication. You have to disclose this. But of course, if you ask ChatGPT to write an article and you just put a name on this, this is not what we mean, okay? That's not ethical. Okay, but your research maybe is in this field, you've been using generative AI tools, you always have to disclose which tool, and you have to cite those tools as software. Okay, but it's, so this is described here, I think, clearly in Portuguese. But, of course, you are allowed to use tools like Grammarly, who help with the grammar, or help you with the editing of your text. Those tools often also use generative AI. It's integrated into those tools. You are allowed to use them as long as those tools are not changing the meaning of the text. Okay? It's just, that's kind of where you can see the line. You are allowed to use Grammarly, etc. But please also mention, I think, to mention that you've been using those tools. You mentioned that. Because sometimes there is this problem with that it could look like, the paper could look like as it was prepared by an AI tool. So please always mention, even if you're just using grammar tools or editing tools, you have to mention this to the journal. Okay? Are there any questions on this or comments? It is very difficult to understand, I think, for authors nowadays, what is allowed and what is not allowed with AI tools. Yes? Okay, Newton.
No, I'm kidding. I need to see Grammarly even if I'm using just to do the translation.
No, just to mention. You don't have to cite Grammarly.
Even when I'm using just to do the translation from Portuguese to English?
Well, that is a critical question. You should not well, if you are using a translation, then that's not really, or what your own article you would translate from Portuguese to English?
No. We do the translation and then we use the Grammarly just to see if it's everything okay or if we need anything to be better.
You have to mention it, yeah.
You have to mention, okay.
If the tool is using some generative AI solution, you have to use it. It's not your own, right?
Okay.
This is not your own translation. Actually, this is a little bit problematic. I was meaning Grammarly more when you write a text in English and you put it into Grammarly and it highlights the grammar problems. That is what I meant. But if this translation Portuguese to English, that's not your own, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, you understand? But you don't have to reference this. This you don't have to reference. But if you really are using text, figures, which were generated completely by an AI tool, or portions of the text or code, this one you have to cite in the reference section or mention in the acknowledgement section. I'm not sure, maybe both is better, yeah. Yeah. But that's a very good question, thank you for asking. Yeah. Anyone else? Antonia? Or here?
If you use the IA to resume our text, we
to
have
summarize the text?
To resume our text, you have to mention in the text too?
You mean while you were reading text in preparation for the article?
Yeah.
No.
No. Okay.
If you, in preparation for your article, you are reading articles, that is not meant with that. No. But if you, for your own article, what you submit under your name, you are using in that text, that is where you have to cite or mention. Yeah. But it's not meant to, the goal is not to ask ChatGPT to write articles for you, because that is going to be rejected. That is not yours, right? Do you understand? Yeah. But if your research is about AI and generative AI, and you've been using a generative AI tool to generate code, if that's your research, you have to reference this as a software. So you cite articles, you cite books, and you cite a software, GPT or, I don't know, other tools. Yeah. There was another question somewhere, Antonia? Oops.
Hi. First of all, I would like to thank you for your wonderful presentation into here. The question that I have is not related to AI, but is related to ethics. So I'm from the field of cybersecurity, and my friend and I would really like to research into like vulnerabilities on medical devices. And if I have a research on that field, how can I ethically post it on IEEE?
What is the research about? I didn't understand.
We would like to research on vulnerabilities on medical devices, and the vulnerabilities can be on
medical
hardware.
Patient data or something. You're
Sorry?
using data from others, from patients.
Sorry, what?
Are you using data like from persons, from people?
No. Would be a like self-dependent research.
Okay.
And the question here is like, how can I ethically post it, like a proof of concept or of a vulnerability or something like this, into IEEE?
Post it?
Yes, like a proof of concept.
No, there is nothing like this. Like, we are not proving a concept before you submit. You have to write the whole article and you submit it to the journal, complete. There is no checking of proof of concept. But what you could do is to post an early version, let's say of the article, on a preprint server, like Tech Archive, and the scientific community could comment on this. But we are not checking the proof of concept or something like this. We are peer reviewing scientific articles to see, okay, this is the methodology you used, and this is the problem, this is the problem you identified, this is your approach, and the methodology, the results, and all this together is checked. But the proof of concept, maybe you could go to a conference, a workshop, or something like this. You could try there to present first to a community, yeah. I hope it, yeah, kind of answers,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Any other questions? These are very good questions, all of them. Anyone else? We could, if not, then we will do this at the end because we have to Oh yeah, this is important. Also the reviewers, these independent experts, they are not allowed to use artificial intelligence. So they are not allowed to say like, okay, I received this article and ask ChatGPT, please write me a review about this article. That's not allowed. Yeah. Any question? Do you? Antonia? Okay.
The peer reviewers can use AI to review or research?
No, they're not allowed to use AI to write reviews. Yeah.
Okay, it's just that.
But if they are really using the, I don't know, but they're not allowed to use. Yeah, they're not allowed to use. Yeah. There's another question. Very good. Antonia, there is another question. But some of the reviewers, they were asking like, they would like to use AI tools to detect if the article was using AI tools. But that's, I think it's not the job of the reviewer, it's the job of the publisher to help with them. But I mean, generally, I don't, yeah, sorry, yes?
Okay, so my question is, if AI was not used in the writing of the paper itself, but it was used for the code, for the code aspect of the work.
Yeah.
And like you said, it should be uploaded to, the code could be uploaded to Ocean something?
Yeah, Code Ocean, yeah.
Oh, Code Ocean. So now the point is, AI was used to generate maybe the code for the model or something.
Yeah.
Would it still need to be cited in the work, since it's not
Same.
used in the paper itself, but...
Yeah, yes, it's a good point. I would mention this in the paper. Yeah, that's a good point. So I actually, so on Code Ocean, you can also post this information, I think. But if you're using in the, in the article, you are referencing, citing that code. You are citing the code, you have to mention that you've been using a generative AI tool for this code. You have to mention that, definitely, always disclose that. But I have to check how this is visible on Code Ocean, because the code is actually on a different platform, okay, on Code Ocean, and the paper and the code, they are linked together with the DOI number. But I have to check how is that represented in Code Ocean. So I cannot answer this completely now. I have to come back to you. Okay, any other questions? Because we have to move on to the open access part. That's really important. So if you publish your article and you're planning to publish open access, I just would like to quickly summarize what options you have at the IEEE. You have the option to publish in more than 180 different journals and magazines, which are so-called hybrid titles. That means in these journals, after your paper has been accepted for publication, after the peer review, the author makes the decision to publish the article as open access or closed access, traditionally. If you select open access, this is also, open access charges are covered under the CAPES agreement in these journals as well. Then we have, we add every year completely new journals. We start completely new journals. These do not yet have an impact factor because you need 2 or 3 years to develop. But in these new titles, you can also publish articles as open access. Or you can publish in one of our fully open access journals. Here you can only publish open access. There is no closed access, only open access. And one of them is the journal called IEEE Access, which is a multidisciplinary journal. It works with hundreds of associate editors. It publishes more than 100,000 articles in the last more than 12 years. And it has an impact factor of 3.6, and it has a peer review time of 4 to 6 weeks maximum. That means They will come back to you within 6 weeks maximum with an answer if your paper is accepted or rejected. Okay. So an important point to emphasize, if you publish traditionally or open access, the peer review is the same. It's not easier to get published when you publish open access, okay? If you publish closed access or open access, the peer review is the same rigorous peer review. You cannot influence this independent, vetting process. It doesn't matter if it's open access or traditional, but open access has probably also benefits. And yeah, what is not covered by the CAPES agreement, and this is important, sometimes there are extra page charges if you would use more pages than allowed. You should avoid them because those are not covered by the CAPES agreement. And that's why it's important to read the author guidelines, because that's clearly written where are the limits, the page limits. And the color charges is again something you should avoid or could avoid when you write to the journal, please make my article black and white in the printed version, and online should be the version in color, then you can avoid the color charges. So because the CAPES agreement covers the open access charges, which is the highest charge, sometimes $2,900 for one article. It's 100% covered under the CAPES. And these charges you should try to avoid, the extra page charges and color charges, because these are not covered by the CAPES agreement. So please read this carefully, and these are recommendations how you can avoid them. Okay. If you need the title list of all the IEEE journals, and you can download them on IEEE Open as an Excel file, there you can also see the impact factor of the journals, the quartile ranking of the journals, you can see if it's fully open access or hybrid open access. And in the submission, this is really important, we are identifying your paper based on the author affiliation, the name of the university of where the corresponding author is working. That's really important. When you enter the system, you have to enter the name of the university based on suggestions from this system. So you don't see this, there is a drop-down menu from the different university name variation. Please don't invent a new name variation, let's say in Portuguese, for your university in our publications. Use the existing ones, because those are connected to identifiers, and we are using those identifiers to identify your manuscript as eligible for the CAPES agreement. That's really important. And please don't use your private email address, because we are using the email domain of the corresponding author as well to identify the manuscript, the article eligible for the open access agreement. Yeah. So this is really important. Finally, after your paper has been accepted in one of our hybrid journals, you have to select, yes, please make my article open access. You remember in the hybrid journals, it is the author's decision, you have to make it, yes, please my article open access. You upload the final files, the end files to our system, and you have to select this license, this CC-BY license. If you do not select this, CAPES will deny the funding for the open access. This is really important. If you publish open access articles, CAPES only pays if you select this license, CC-BY. Have you heard about these Creative Commons licenses? The definition of open access is that the paper, the article is accessible for anyone around the world without subscription or payment, and it is published under this very open license That means the author keeps the copyright to the article, but the author grants to anyone around the world the right to use portions of the text without asking for permission. It's a most liberal license. That means anyone can use your figures and pictures from your article, and they don't have to ask you for permission. But they have to give credit to you. They have to cite you, of course. If you publish traditionally, the closed access, the traditional, the old way of publishing, you transfer the copyright to IEEE. If you publish open access, the author keeps the copyright and you grant other users rights to do with the text whatever they like. They can train a large language model. You don't have an impact. You gave this right to anyone. Okay, so important here is the CAPES is CCBY. Okay, this is what you have to remember. And then after this step, the CAPES administrator receives an email. They will log into a dashboard and they will approve your funding request. So they are checking each manuscript in Brazil, okay? And after this approval, you will receive this email confirming, yes, the CAPES IEEE agreement is covering 100% of the open access charges. So this is the email you're going to receive, and you know, okay, the open access charges are covered for me, so that you don't have to pay. Okay, so finally, I mentioned open science as well. So I mentioned Code Ocean. So you can use this. This is not an IEEE website. This is independent. Please use them for accessing or uploading code. Then we have this IEEE data port, our research data repository. You can check them out. There are thousands of research data available. A lot of them are open access. You could use them. This is our own preprint server where you can upload an early version of your article. It's something like Archive, but made by IEEE. This is our preprint server. And when you publish a paper with a corresponding code, this is a conference paper, okay? And there is this little icon meaning code is available. And also, you can see this under supplemental items. The code, there are 51 papers where a code also has been published. You can filter those papers. And others can see this widget, this window to Code Ocean, where they can run the codes directly from IEEE Xplore. Or they can link out to Code Ocean to have access to the code capsule. Okay, so this is how it looks like. And finally, these are all our websites for you to follow on. The IEEE Author Center, where you can find the publication recommender tool, the PDF checker, and all the different tools we offer for authors for free. We have, this is really important, a reference preparation assistant. This helps you to create a perfect reference list based on IEEE citation style. That's really important. Most of the little mistakes happen in the references section of your paper, and you could use this reference preparation assistant as you like. We do have video tutorials. Anyone can access them. I think it would be great to post this on the postgrad school's website. You can post them. We also have a new video on artificial intelligence as well. Please subscribe to the author's newsletter as well for IEEE. You could be invited to one of our bigger symposia. What we have next week, we have a big symposia. You can find all these free webinars as well there. There are symposia with journal editors. Last year we had with someone from MIT, 1.5 seminar. You can listen to those recordings on demand, and you can also get an IEEE certificate. Next week, we are having a new symposium with a professor from the Technical University in Munich in Germany, and you can find the registration details there as well. Okay, I'm a member of the client services team. I'm based in Europe, in Berlin. But there are a lot of colleagues in your time zone also available. So maybe if the university would like to organize an online webinar, something similar to this or a little bit other topics, feel free to reach out to us at training@ieee.org. And we can organize this for the university in the future. And that's maybe even easier if you do it online sometimes. Okay. So any questions or comments? Oh, sorry. This is my email address if you have questions about this presentation. But the presentation will be sent out to everyone who registered for this event. You will receive the slides probably next week, and also the CAPES slides you will receive if you have registered for this event. Any questions now from the audience about anything IEEE related? We will go and play a quiz now. Is that okay if we play the quiz? Maybe the gentleman in the back, can you change to Chrome, please? Antonio, can you please ask the gentleman? No. The technical guy to change the view to Chrome, the technical person. Finish the presentation and yeah.
Pessoal, só fazendo um adendo aqui à fala final da Esther, é que eu vi que vários convidados chegaram logo depois, e se vocês não conseguiram se inscrever a tempo de sair o nome de vocês na lista, se vocês puderem fazer isso para receber os certificados na próxima semana do I3E, é importante, né, para que vocês tenham esse certificado de participação, tá? E aí logo depois vai ter um quiz aqui que a Esther vai fazer, e a gente tem alguns brindes também para vocês que vieram aqui privilegiar o evento agora pela manhã, tá bom?
Eu não estou escutando nada, cara. Surgindo. Segunda.
Oi? Alguém está com a lista, pessoal, parado com alguém? Ah, tá ali, ó, lá no final, pegar. Se puder passar para cá, eu te agradeço por chegar até aqui. Se tiverem perguntas e algum comentário que vocês queiram fazer, tanto para a Esther do I3E, quanto para a Soraya da CAPES, aproveitem que esse é o momento de vocês. Então, eu vou ficar aqui com o Antônio vai ficar numa ponta, eu vou ficar na outra, e o Antônio é o nosso gerente de capacitações da EBSCO para Brasil, Portugal e alguns países da América Latina.
Pessoal, em relação a... Todos precisam estar inscritos, tá? Então, eu vou voltar lá para aquela QR Code de inscrição. Se você já se inscreveu, é só você, na lista que está circulando, dar um tique do lado do seu nome. Se você não se inscreveu, escreva seu nome no final da lista com e-mail, mas mesmo assim se inscreva lá, porque vai ser com a inscrição feita no sistema que vai gerar o certificado. Aqui a gente só está checando quem se inscreveu a partir da lista impressa, tá ok?
Hello, can we start? We have 45 players, and I will try to run the quiz from my phone, and hopefully it works. Yeah. If you have not joined, there is the... If you have not yet joined, there is the QR code also visible there. Or you can go to menti.com and enter these numbers, and then you will land on the same page. And for the presents, we have only stickers for the winners. We have here these stickers where you can put on your laptops. IEEE stickers. What is this? Oh, you have more. I didn't know you have more. Wow, we have a lot of stickers. Everyone can get a sticker. Okay. So, can we start? Are you ready? Is everyone in the game who would like to play? Okay. So there will be multiple choice questions, and you can get more points if you are faster. And between some of the questions, there will be a leaderboard where you can see how well you're playing. And I hope this works with this phone. So I will start the quiz. Yes, it is working. Okay. So what famous global wireless networking standard is developed and maintained by IEEE? So which standard is from IEEE? From the below 4. I mentioned this at the beginning of the presentation. Okay, do you have 6 more questions? Oh no, what happened? Oh, that's my computer screen. Why is it logged out? Maybe there is no electricity? One moment, sorry. I will start like this.
Enquanto ela está conectando novamente, eu só pediria a gentileza de vocês, quando terminar, para a gente juntar todos aqui na frente, para a gente poder fazer a foto oficial, tá ok? Obrigado.
Thank you. So, sorry for this. So the correct answer was, very good, it was Wi-Fi, of course. Let's go to the next question. Okay, next question is coming up now. How many student members does IEEE have? You have to guess. I mentioned at the beginning we have almost 500,000 members all around the world. How many students are from these? How many of them are students? Okay, 10. Oh, there is this comment feature here, okay. Yeah, 15 did guess well. 220,000 of them are students. And I think we have now the First leaderboard, yes. So now you can see how you are playing, but it's not the end of the game. We have still 5 more questions, but you can see your name on the screen, hopefully, and your logo. Let's go to the next. So, 56 players we have. Okay, the question is, what is the official tagline and mission of IEEE? Is it engineering the future today, advancing technology for humanity, connecting global engineers, or innovation for a better world? Okay, I think it was on my first slide as well, or was it? I don't know. Well, the official statement, tagline. Yeah, and the correct answer is, wow, most of you. Advancing technology for the benefit of humanity, or advancing technology for humanity. Very good, very good. All the others, of course, it makes sense. Okay. So let's go to the next question. Yeah. So 57 players we have. Good. Next question is coming up now. Under which facet can you find data sets and codes in IEEE Xplore? This is a filter option in IEEE Xplore. I was showing this at the end of my presentation. Where can you find data sets and codes? How is this called? That filter option. Oh, and supplemental items, very good. You paid attention, most of you. Okay, let's see the next leaderboard. Maybe it has changed a lot. And it maybe, no, it's still Oana leading, Lucas, Felipe, and yeah, well, let's go to the next questions. We have 3 more questions. Coming up next. The next one is going to be on open access, yes. What are the benefits of publishing open access articles with the IEEE? And be careful here. It is made freely available upon publication, is A. B, open access has more liberal copyright and reuse permissions. Or C, A and B. What is the correct answer? Yeah. Let's see. 4, 3, 2, 1, 58. Answers, yes, most of you didn't know. Really good. But everything is corrected. The perfect is, it's both. It's published, it's freely available, but it's also published under a Creative Commons license. Really good. Okay, let's go to the next. Yes, the next leaderboard, but we have more questions. Wow, Ohana is, yay. What happened again? Oh, okay. Okay. We go to the next question, okay? Okay, 44, 40, 45, 56, okay. Let's go to the next question. Last one? No, 2 more, I think. How many, that's easy, how many different journals and magazines does IEEE publish in IEEE Xplore Digital Library? Less than 50, more than 200, 143. Okay. I mentioned this at the beginning of my presentation. I was also showing on the open access part some numbers, so you should have an idea of how many journals we have. 4, 3, 1, okay. More than 200, of course it is the highest number. Okay, this is not the end. Before we go to the last question, this is the leaderboard, and it has changed a lot. Alpha, Marina is leading, Oana, Lucas. So, for the We have so many stickers. So for the winner, you can come first and select the sticker. That will be the prize, or the sticker. And we don't have anything else, right? Kit? Yeah. Yeah, okay. We have some small items we have. Okay. So let's go to the final question. The final question before celebrating the winner. Okay? So the last question. Okay, do I have every player? Yeah. So last question is coming up now. How old is the IEEE? I mentioned at the beginning a little bit the history of IEEE. So how old is the IEEE? 100 years, or older, or younger? Whoa, most of you did know. Very good. More than 140 years. Cool. Very good. Okay, let's see who and celebrate the winner. We will see, we will see. Oh, it's Alpha Marine. Congratulations. Who is that person? Where is the person? Ah. Okay. Ah, okay. Are you bringing the present? Or would you like to come here and select the present? Okay. Then we have Lucas Duarte, second. Congratulations. Please come and select your present. Then we have Ohana. I think Oana, please come and select also present. First, yeah. And then after you finish, then everyone can come. But you are first. You can select. These are two different stickers. Which one? From here? Yes, yes, of course. You can also have, you see. You can have more, yeah. You were the winner. You guys are the winners. You can have more. Yep,
Pessoal,
you too,
tem alguém com a lista aí parada ou não? Tá circulando. Ah, tá ali em cima.
Ah, okay. Now, if you like, please select also a sticker. If you like one sticker, come here. And maybe we will take a picture together if you like. We don't have to. If you like.
Estou aqui. Queria agradecer a todos que estão ainda no YouTube nos assistindo e dizer que estou muito feliz, a UFPA está muito feliz e agradece a presença de todos vocês, estudantes, professores, todos. Estamos muito felizes, a CAPES já, o pessoal da CAPES já mandou mensagem para a gente, estão todos emocionados em Brasília de ver todos aqui. E agradecer, desejar um bom final de semana para vocês todos. Muito obrigada. Soraya, por favor, faça o fechamento.
Agradecer demais a presença aqui de todos, pessoal online também, né? O I3 é nosso parceiro aí que foi responsável por promover esses eventos e hoje a gente está encerrando aqui em Belém com chave de ouro, com todo esse público maravilhoso. Agradecer a participação da professora Iracilda aí na organização do espaço, na divulgação, né, que foi essencial aí para a gente ter esse sucesso aqui em Belém. Obrigada, gente. Maior audiência de todos os eventos.